Today is pre-op day. I have been on an adventure. I ventured out of the hotel and went up to the hospital. So today was mainly about getting tests done. The ones where they take stuff out of your arm and test it for stuff. They had to do a bunch of those. And they did your height, your weight. They ran a brief ECG. I think the thing that I was most disappointed with was the fact that when I got on their scales, they were actually vastly different to mine. As in, yesterday when I left the house, yesterday morning, 24 hours ago, my scales were showing a 4-pound loss from doing this reduced calorie diet to reduce the size of your liver. And so I knew that in theory I've lost at least 4 pounds in the last week and a half, which, as much as some people can lose more, and it would have been great if it had been more, that's not the point of it. And so I was okay with that. It still proved that, things happen. And when I got on her scales and she asked me how much I was at the beginning, apparently her scales were still reading exactly the same. As in, I hadn't lost an ounce. And yeah, I can't wrap my head around that, other than the fact that their scales must be calibrated differently. Because no doubt if I got on, say, my doctor's scales and my scales and their scales, they would all read differently. Unfortunately, that's not how it should be. But I could only go from my reading that I took on my scales at the beginning, and then my reading that I took on my scales at the end, to know how much I have lost, because they're the same scales in the same place. Obviously, I felt very, very disappointed. Absolutely gutted that they didn't see that weight loss, because I explained to her just how little I have actually consumed over the last week and a half. And yesterday, for example, I was traveling, and the sum total of my food for yesterday, I had a yogurt before I left the house. And then at around 8 o'clock last night, I had a dairy lunchable, which was 214 calories. And a few grapes, which even measured generously is 96 calories. And that's being generous for what I had. And a complimentary biscuit that was 130 calories. So you add that up and tell me if that's anywhere near 800 calories or 1,000 calories, which is actually the maximum that I can have and still be on this diet. I had very little, and it's been like this most days. I've not eaten very much, so I'm really hoping that my scales would actually say the same if I was at home to get on them. But never mind, it wasn't an issue. She just took all of the readings, did all of the paperwork and sent me on my way. I wasn't quite sure whether to expect more conversation from different people or if it was just the nurses I was seeing today, and that is the case. It was just the phlebotomist to do the initial tests, and then one of the other nurses to do the ECG and take the other measurements. So now it's basically just a case of turning up bright and breezy at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And that's me. I'm then in for the duration, for the surgery, for a couple of days. And then I get one more day at the hotel before I have to fly home. I must admit, as much as the last couple of weeks on the whole have been relatively easy, relatively plain sailing, not too emotionally charged, the last couple of days, I think it's starting to creep in. I think I am starting to feel it. There are nerves, there is a little anxiety. But, even speaking to the nurses today, they were brilliant. Everybody that I've met so far, be it at the hospital, at the hotel, at the airport, everybody just seems nice here. It's really good. So yeah, I've now got some chill out time, and Saturday morning is the day that I'll be going in. So I just thought I'd let you know that I've done the pre-op, and yeah, there's really nothing to it. a couple of quick tests, and you're on your way really. So that's the pre-op done. I'll catch you guys later.